The return. The void between stars held its breath as the UNSC research vessel Hyperion drifted through the silent expanse of the Cygnus Arm. Commander Elena Reyes stood on the observation deck, her dark eyes scanning the glittering tapestry of distant suns. 20 years in deep space exploration had taught her that the universe rarely offered simple answers, but what awaited them at these coordinates promised to be stranger than most. "Commander," Lieutenant Cade Ishikawa's voice crackled through her comm. "We've confirmed the signal. It's definitely the Artemis." Elena's spine stiffened. The Artemis, Earth's first attempt at an interstellar colony ship, had vanished without trace 78 years ago, taking with it 1,200 colonists and the hopes of humanity's early expansion beyond the solar system. Its disappearance had nearly collapsed the United Nations Space Coalition before it truly began. "Strength of signal?" she asked, already moving toward the bridge. "Strong and unusual, ma'am. Dr. Mbeki says there are patterns he's never seen before interwoven with the standard Earth emergency beacon." As Elena stepped onto the bridge, the main view screen dominated by swirling holographic data streams, she found the science team huddled around Chief Xenotechnologist Dr. Tom Makey. His dark fingers danced across multiple interfaces as he dissected the signal. "Commander," he acknowledged without looking up, "this signal is Earth-made, but it's been modified. There are frequencies here that shouldn't exist in our technology. Could it be an alien species using our tech to lure us in?" asked First Officer Diana Zhang, voicing the concern everyone felt. Mbeki shook his head. "The core signal structure is unmistakably from the Artemis. The modifications appear systematic, not mimicry." Elena studied the readouts. "Time to intercept. 8 hours at standard approach," Cade replied. "Make it 4. Yellow alert. I want all sensor arrays at maximum sensitivity." As they approached the coordinates, the bridge crew fell silent. The main view screen shifted to visual spectrum, revealing a dark shape silhouetted against the stars. It grew larger as they neared, and Elena felt her breath catch in her throat. It was the Artemis. And yet, not the Artemis. The vessel's familiar hull configuration remained recognizable, but its surface was covered with intricate patterns that seemed to pulse with subtle energy. Where there should have been standard metal plating and thruster arrays, organic-looking structures had grown, merging with the original design. Tendrils of unknown material extended from various points, waving slowly in the vacuum like deep-sea creatures. "Life signs?" Elena asked. "Inconclusive," reported Medical Officer Dr. Samira Hassan. "There's energy throughout the ship that interferes with our bioscanners. But there are patterns, rhythmic pulses that almost resemble heartbeats. I'm detecting power signatures unlike anything in our database," added engineer Mikhail Volkov. "Whatever's powering that ship now, it isn't human technology." Elena made her decision. "Prepare a boarding party. Full containment protocols. Dr. Mbeki, you'll lead the scientific team. Lieutenant Zhang, you'll command security." "Commander," Zhang protested, "regulations state that in unknown contact scenarios." "I'm well aware of the regulations, Lieutenant, but this is an Earth vessel, and there may be survivors. We go in prepared for anything, but we go in." 4 hours later, Elena watched from the Hyperion as the boarding shuttle docked with what appeared to be one of the few recognizable airlock structures on the transformed Artemis. The comms crackled with Zhang's voice. "Docking complete. Airlock. Well, it's responding, but not to our standard protocols. It seems to be adapting to our presence." "Understood. Proceed with caution." Through helmet cameras, Elena and the bridge crew watched as the boarding team entered the Artemis. The interior was more alien than the exterior. The corridors retained their basic shape, but the walls pulsed with bioluminescent veins. Strange nodules protruded at intervals, emitting soft light that shifted colors as the team passed. "Atmosphere is breathable," reported Dr. Hassan after her scans. Temperature stable at 19 degrees Celsius, almost as if it's been prepared for us, Zhang finished grimly. Dr. Mbeki ran his scanner over one of the pulsing wall sections. Incredible. This appears to be a hybrid of organic and synthetic materials, but far beyond anything we've developed. The integration is seamless. As they pushed deeper into the ship, they began to notice patterns in the light pulses, almost like a language. And with each new corridor, the ship seemed to change around them, pathways reorganizing subtly. We're being led somewhere, Zhang observed. The ship is guiding us. To what? Hassan wondered. They got their answer when they reached what had once been the bridge. The room had expanded, its ceiling now a dome of swirling lights that resembled a nebula. At its center stood what appeared to be a control console, but one that bore little resemblance to human design. It pulsed with the same rhythm they detected from outside. Mbeki approached it cautiously. This energy pattern, it's not random. It's too complex, too organized. As if responding to his words, the console flared brighter, and a voice filled their comms. A chorus of voices, male and female, speaking as one. You came. We hoped you would. Zhang's security team raised their weapons instinctively, but there was no visible threat to target. Who are you? Mbeki asked. We are Artemis. We are what remains. We are what evolved. Alina's voice cut in through their comms. Ask them about the crew. Mbeki swallowed. The original crew of the Artemis. What happened to them? The lights pulsed faster. We are them. They are us. The boundary dissolved. Hassan stepped forward. Are you saying the crew is alive? Life, death. These concepts became fluid. We encountered the deep ones beyond the void. They offered transformation, union. Some resisted, most accepted. We became more. Mbeki's scanner began to beep rapidly. The energy signatures are increasing. The ship is becoming more active. We have waited. The chorus continued. Learned. Grown. Now you are here. Now we can complete the cycle. Without warning, bulkheads slammed shut behind them, sealing the boarding party on the bridge. Tendrils of light extended from the walls and floor, reaching toward them. Commander, Zhang shouted into her comm. We're trapped. The ship is. The transmission cut off as the tendrils touched their suits, and a wave of foreign consciousness washed over the boarding party's minds. Images flooded through them, vast intelligences drifting between stars, civilizations rising and falling across millennia. The tiny spark of humanity flaring bright against the cosmic dark. And through it all, a message. You are not ready, but you must be. The universe will not wait. On the Hyperion, Alina watched in horror as her crew's life signs fluctuated wildly, then stabilized into new patterns her systems couldn't identify. The transformed Artemis began to glow, its entire structure illuminated from within as it awakened fully to their presence. All hands, Alina commanded, her voice steady despite her fear. Prepare for emergency protocols. Whatever that ship has become, it wants something from us, and I intend to find out what. Transformation and triumph. Commander Alina Reyes stared at the monitors displaying her boarding team's vital signs. Each heartbeat now synchronized perfectly with the pulsing light of the transformed Artemis. Communications had been silent for 17 minutes since Lieutenant Zhang's desperate final transmission. The Hyperion hovered at a safe distance, weapons systems charged but targeting solutions uncertain. Where did the ship end and potential survivors begin? Chief Engineer Volkov, Alina said, breaking the tense silence on the bridge. I need options. The burly Russian engineer looked up from his console, face grim. We could try to cut through their hull with the particle beam, create an extraction point. But given the ship's unusual nature, I cannot predict how it might respond. It might perceive that as an attack, offered Science Officer Dr. Chen. If the vessel possesses some form of consciousness, as the boarding team suggested, a hostile approach could endanger everyone. Alina nodded. What about using the shuttle's remote override? Already tried, Volkov replied. Something's blocking our signals, or rather, absorbing them. Every transmission we send is integrated into that energy pattern surrounding the ship. Inside the Artemis, the boarding team was experiencing something beyond their training or imagination. Each member floated in a sea of alien consciousness, their minds touched by whatever entity had merged with the colony ship and its original crew. Dr. Tom Bickey struggled to maintain his sense of self as waves of information crashed through his thoughts. The Deep Ones, as the ship had called them, were ancient beyond comprehension, entities that existed in the spaces between conventional reality, drawn to the Artemis when its experimental drive had torn a temporary hole in space-time. They had offered the crew a choice: extinction in the void, or transformation into something new. Lieutenant Diana Jung fought against the mental intrusion more fiercely than the others, her military training providing a framework for resistance. Through fractured glimpses of shared consciousness, she realized something crucial. The Artemis wasn't attempting to assimilate them completely. It was studying them, testing them. They're trying to understand us. She managed to communicate to the others through their now-linked consciousness. The human elements within the collective are still distinct. Dr. Samira Hassan, whose medical expertise included neural mapping, recognized the pattern. The original crew, they didn't just surrender their individuality. They negotiated terms. Their humanity persisted even through transformation. This realization rippled through their shared mental space, and they felt the ship entity's attention intensify. A new voice emerged in their minds, this one singular and somehow familiar. Captain Elijah Ward, the Artemis' original commander. Yes, the voice confirmed. We remain ourselves, yet part of something greater. The Deep Ones sought consuming hosts, but humanity proved resilient, adaptable in ways they had not encountered before. Mbiki focused his thoughts. You've been waiting for other humans. Why? Images flooded their minds, the Deep Ones spreading across galaxies, absorbing civilizations, growing ever larger but increasingly homogeneous, stagnating, until they encountered humans whose contradictory nature, simultaneously fragile and indomitable, individualistic yet cooperative, offered something new. We are the bridge, Ward's consciousness explained. Neither fully human nor fully Deep One. A new path of evolution. But we need fresh human perspectives to prevent assimilation from becoming complete. On the Hyperion, alarms suddenly blared as the Artemis emitted a powerful energy surge. The transformed vessel began to spin slowly, creating a vortex of light that stretched toward the research ship. It's trying to establish a direct connection, Dr. Chen shouted over the klaxons. Alina gripped her command chair. Shields to maximum. Prepare to break orbit. But before they could react, the Hyperion systems began responding to unknown commands. Screens flickered with strange symbols as the ship's AI reported. Unknown interface attempting integration with primary systems. Elena made her decision. If they want to talk, let's talk. Open a direct neural interface. Commander, that's against every first contact protocol. Chen protested. And leaving our people to whatever's happening over there isn't. Elena snapped. Prepare the interface. I'm going in. Within the Artemis, the boarding team felt the ship entity's excitement as it sensed Elena's approach through the neural link. The collective consciousness expanded to include her, but differently. She remained firmly anchored to her physical form on the Hyperion while her mind joined theirs. Commander, Zhang's thoughts reached out. We've discovered what they want, why they came back to human space. Elena's mental presence radiated determination. Explain. Instead of words, the ship entity showed her countless worlds across the galaxy where other entities like the Deep Ones had consumed all life, creating vast homogeneous collectives without innovation or growth. Then it showed interfaces between species, symbiotic rather than consuming, creating new forms of intelligence that combined strengths while preserving diversity. Humanity's unique neural plasticity and contradictory nature made them ideal partners in this alternative path. You want an alliance, Alina realized. More than alliance, Captain Ward's consciousness replied. Co-evolution. The Deep Ones offer knowledge spanning billions of years, access to dimensions beyond conventional space. Humanity offers creativity, adaptability, and a stubborn refusal to surrender individuality even when transformed. Alina processed this. And what happens to my boarding team? They remain themselves, enhanced, like us, interfaces between worlds, if they choose. The key word resonated through the shared consciousness: choice. Unlike other species the Deep Ones had encountered, humans had insisted on maintaining choice even when facing extinction. Mbiki's consciousness pushed forward. The modifications to the ship, the signal, you were showing us what's possible without forcing transformation. Yes, the chorus of voices replied. Force creates resistance. Resistance limits potential. The Deep Ones learned this from us. We learned unity from them. Alina considered everything she'd seen and felt. If I agree to establish diplomatic contact, will you release my people, unchanged, to serve as intermediaries? The ship pulsed with deliberation, the original human consciousnesses within it advocating for acceptance. Finally, the chorus replied, yes, some must remain themselves to translate between worlds. But know that what awaits is beyond current human comprehension. Humanity has faced the incomprehensible before, Alina responded firmly. It's our specialty. The neural connection hummed with something resembling laughter, a very human response from an entity far beyond humanity. Then the Artemis began to withdraw its mental touch, carefully separating from the boarding team's minds while leaving something behind, a framework for future communication. On the bridge of the Artemis, Lieutenant Zhang and her team gasped as they returned fully to their bodies. The ship around them pulsed once more. Then the sealed bulkheads reopened, offering them passage back to their shuttle. The commander negotiated our release, Zhang told the others. But I think we're taking something back with us that will change everything. Dr. Mbiki nodded, his eyes now reflecting the same swirling patterns seen throughout the ship. Not an invasion, an invitation. Hours later, as the boarding team underwent medical examination aboard the Hyperion, Alina drafted her report to UNSC Command. How could she explain that humanity's first major encounter with a truly alien intelligence had resulted not in conflict or conquest, but in a mutual recognition of complementary strengths? The Artemis hung in space alongside them, its transformed structure now less threatening and more magnificent. Inside it, the consciousnesses of 1,200 colonists waited, changed but not gone, evolved but still human in their core values. They had become something unprecedented in the galaxy, a bridge species that maintained individuality within collective existence. Dr. Hassan, Alina asked the medical officer, your assessment of the team. Hassan looked up from her scans, physically unchanged, but their neural patterns show significant reorganization. They're still themselves, but expanded somehow. They're processing information faster, showing increased empathy and cognitive abilities. And the knowledge transfer, what they brought back. Just the beginning, Hassan replied. The Artemis showed us glimpses of technologies beyond our current understanding, but implemented in ways compatible with human physiology and psychology. They're offering a path to advancement without losing what makes us human. Alina turned to the view screen where the transformed ship glowed softly against the stars. Then we accept their invitation, cautiously, methodically, but we accept. Humanity didn't reach the stars by refusing to evolve. As the Hyperion prepared to escort the Artemis back to Earth space, Alina reflected on what this encounter meant. Throughout history, humanity had feared that meeting advanced alien intelligences would result in subjugation or extinction. Instead, they had found entities that recognized humanity's unique qualities as valuable: our contradictions, our adaptability, our fierce preservation of choice and individuality, even in the face of transcendence. The universe, it seemed, needed humans to be human. Our stubborn nature, our refusal to surrender what defined us even when offered transformation. These weren't weaknesses but strengths that even entities billions of years our senior could recognize and respect. The Artemis hadn't just returned transformed by alien hands. It had returned bearing proof that humanity's place among the stars would be earned not despite our nature, but because of it. Beyond the viewports, the stars beckoned with new promise.